On a chilly autumn evening, 5 friends, Alex, Sarah, Mark, Lisa, and Daniel, gathered around a campfire in a remote woodland clearing. They had embarked on a camping trip to escape the stresses of their everyday lives and immerse themselves in the beauty of nature. Little did they know that the forest held a dark secret. As the fire crackled and sent sparks into the night sky, Sarah shared the legend of the Whispering Woods, a place rumored to be haunted by the spirits of those who had disappeared within its depths. The others laughed it off as a campfire tale, dismissing it as superstition. But as the night deepened, strange things began to happen. The wind carried eerie whispers that seemed to echo the names of each camper. The trees, bathed in an eerie moonlight, cast elongated shadows that danced in an unsettling rhythm. Daniel, the most skeptical of the group, decided to prove that there was nothing to fear. Armed with a lantern and a mischievous grin, he ventured into the forest, challenging the spirits to reveal themselves. Minutes turned into hours, and Daniel had not returned. The friends grew increasingly anxious, their laughter replaced by nervous glances. The forest seemed to close in around them, the darkness pressing against their campfire's feeble glow. Finally, Daniel's voice echoing from deep within the woods. He sounded frantic, pleading for help. Without hesitation, Alex, Sarah, Mark, and Lisa grabbed their lanterns and followed his desperate cries. As they ventured deeper into the Whispering Woods, the atmosphere grew oppressive. The trees twisted and contorted, forming grotesque shapes, and the whispers grew louder, filling their ears with dread. The path ahead seemed to shift and change, leading them deeper into an inescapable labyrinth. Suddenly, they stumbled upon a clearing in the forest bathed in an eerie, otherworldly light. In the center of the clearing stood Daniel, his eyes vacant and distant as if in a trance. He repeated cryptic incantations in a language they couldn't understand. The friends approached Daniel, trying to snap him out of his trance, but he turned toward them with an unnatural grin. He spoke of a pact he had made with the forest spirits, promising his friends in exchange for unimaginable power. Realization dawned upon them. Daniel had been ensnared by the malevolent forces of the Whispering Woods. Before they could react, the trees themselves came alive, their gnarled branches reaching out to ensnare the friends. As the trees tightened their grip, the forest echoed with the mournful cries of lost souls. Mark, Lisa, Sarah, and Alex screamed in terror, realizing that they were destined to join the ranks of the forest's tormented spirits. In their final moments, they heard Daniel's laughter, an eerie, inhuman sound that mingled with the whispers of the woods. The forest had claimed them, and the legend of the Whispering Woods lived on, a chilling warning to all who dared to enter. In the remote town of Ravensbrook, nestled deep within a dense, ancient forest, an eerie legend shrouded the towering trees and whispered through the mist. Locals spoke of the Forest of Forgotten Souls, a place where the spirits of the deceased were said to roam, seeking vengeance against the living. Sophia, an intrepid journalist with an insatiable curiosity, arrived in Ravensbrook to investigate the chilling tales. Armed with a notepad, voice recorder, and an old leather-bound grimoire she believed held the key to understanding the forest's malevolent power, she ventured into the heart of the woods. As Sophia delved deeper into the Forest of Forgotten Souls, the air grew heavy with a mournful silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant cry of an unseen creature. She couldn't shake the feeling that the trees themselves were watching her every move. As night descended, Sophia set up her camp beneath a canopy of ancient oaks, their twisted branches forming grotesque silhouettes in the moonlight. She lit a campfire, hoping its flickering flames would ward off the encroaching darkness. But the forest had other plans. The flames danced wildly, casting eerie, shifting shadows that seemed to take on sinister forms. The trees groaned and whispered in a language she couldn't understand, as if sharing secrets that should never be known. Sophia opened the grimoire and began to chant the incantation she had discovered within its pages, hoping to communicate with the spirits that dwelled in the forest. In response, the air grew frigid, and a spectral mist enveloped her. Whispers filled her ears, each voice a desperate plea for release from their eternal torment. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath her, and the very earth seemed to come alive. Skeletal hands erupted from the ground, grasping at her ankles. She tried to flee, but the forest had trapped her in a nightmarish grip. Through the swirling mist, Sophia glimpsed the apparitions of lost souls. Their eyes were hollow, and they bore the wounds of their tragic deaths. They blamed her for their suffering, believing she had come to the forest to exploit their pain. Desperation turned to terror as Sophia realized that she was the forest's prisoner, and the spirits intended to make her pay for trespassing on their sacred domain. They chanted in an ancient tongue, and the forest itself twisted and contorted, forming a nightmarish labyrinth that closed in around her. The wind howled through the old, decrepit Blackwood Manor, a mansion that had stood for centuries as a cursed sentinel on the desolate hill. It had earned a sinister reputation in the town below, where locals whispered about its gruesome history. Emily, a young and adventurous photographer with a fascination for the macabre, had spent years researching Blackwood Manor. She had uncovered unsettling tales of disappearances, mysterious deaths, and malevolent spirits that lurked within its walls. The mansion had become an obsession she couldn't ignore. One fateful night, Emily, driven by an insatiable curiosity, decided to explore the mansion. She donned her photographer's gear, equipped with night vision cameras, EVP recorders, and an old weathered journal she believed held the key to understanding the mansion's dark secrets. As Emily approached Blackwood Manor under a waning crescent moon, the trees around the mansion seemed to reach out like gnarled fingers, as if trying to keep her away. The air grew heavy with an oppressive aura, and the temperature dropped drastically. Upon entering the mansion, Emily was immediately greeted by an otherworldly coldness that seeped into her bones. The creaking of the floorboards echoed like mournful whispers, and the walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. Her camera's night vision revealed fleeting glimpses of ghostly figures drifting through the mansion's corridors. Shadows danced on the walls, and disembodied voices whispered her name. Emily felt an overwhelming dread settle upon her, but she pressed on, her journalistic determination driving her deeper into the abyss. The mansion's interior was a labyrinth of decaying rooms, each with its own horrifying story. In one room, a blood-stained nursery filled with broken toys told of a family's tragic loss. In another, a long-forgotten study contained journals that chronicled madness and despair. Suddenly, Emily heard a child's laughter echoing through the halls. It was a chilling sound that sent shivers down her spine. She followed the eerie sound to a room at the end of a dark corridor. Inside, a flickering candle illuminated a decrepit rocking chair. And there, sitting in the chair, was a ghostly child with hollow eyes and a sinister smile. The child beckoned to Emily, and against her better judgment, she approached. As she drew near, the child's features twisted into a grotesque mask of rage, and it lunged at her. She screamed and fled, but the mansion seemed to conspire against her, its walls shifting and closing in like a living, malevolent entity. Desperate and terrified, Emily made her way to the basement, where the most gruesome secrets of Blackwood Manor were said to be hidden. There, in the dim light of her camera, she discovered a hidden chamber filled with bones and relics of past victims, each with their own tragic tale. But as she tried to escape the basement, the entrance sealed shut behind her, trapping her with the vengeful spirits that had claimed so many before her. They whispered their stories of betrayal, murder, and despair, and Emily realized that she was now destined to become a part of Blackwood Manor's gruesome history. In the pitch-black basement of Blackwood Manor, Emily's flashlight began to flicker, casting eerie, erratic shadows on the walls lined with the bones of the mansion's previous victims. Her heart raced as she frantically tried to find an exit, but the walls seemed to close in on her, suffocating her with an oppressive darkness. As Emily stumbled through the bone-chilling abyss, she stumbled upon an old mirror, its glass cracked and tarnished. Her reflection seemed distorted, and for a moment she saw the faces of the mansion's tormented spirits staring back at her, their eyes filled with accusation and malice. The diary she had brought with her was now her only link to the world outside the cursed mansion. With trembling hands, she opened it and began to read aloud the incantation she had found within its pages, hoping it would break the curse that bound her to Blackwood Manor.